Today's impact, Kevin James and his amazing viral videos. What's up, fam? It's Papa Swolio, and we're going to talk about this kind of behind the scenes for Kevin James and his, I won't say his rise to fame because he was super famous before the lockdown, but his little short films like The Sound Guy, and you might have seen him on TikTok and probably Instagram, YouTube, and whatnot, but they're hilarious. I remember when they first started popping up, it was just great, brilliant stuff. So this article kind of breaks it down. Meet the secret weapon behind Kevin James's viral short films, Eight Brothers in Long Island. So let's go through this because I find it fascinating how you can just turn on a dime, and it just goes to show that you don't need, like seriously, you don't need an entire studio. You don't need, like, this is in the creator's hands. Every single one of you watching, you can have a couple people and film. This is how these TikTok kids blow up. They just get a couple together and they're filming, they're flipping the lights, they're doing the effects, they're editing the videos, and you pop off, you blow up, and then boom, like that's it. You just got to put in the work and be at the right place in the right time, have a good idea, and execute. You got to execute. So anyway, when isolation orders went into effect in March, the Rhode Island-based siblings were in talks with James on a project, but he came up with another plan. We could quarantine together. Over the past 6 months, Kevin James's YouTube channel has been churning out the hits with more than a dozen short films garnering over 1 million views apiece. Particularly popular has been a Sound Guy series that finds the King of Queens star expertly edited into films like The Notebook, Rocky, Joker, Inception, and I Am Legend, the latter of which racked up 5.6 million views. James accomplished all of this during a global pandemic when production was largely paused. The secret to his YouTube success, turns out it's not just one thing, it's 8 brothers. That mother was busy, huh? James worked with a tight-knit filmmaking collective known as the Kinane Brothers. Charles, Dan, Pat, Brendan, Pete, John, Will, and Jeffrey Aziz, who is actually a brother-in-law, hail from Little Compton, Rhode Island, and range in age from 20 to 37 years old. There are 10 total Kinane siblings with 2 sisters and 1 older brother. They spent the bulk of the extended period of isolation in a filmmaking bubble working out of James's garage in Long Island. Charles says the formation of the company happened organically as he and Jeff were working on documentaries in Brooklyn. They needed to source a crew for a project and wound up drafting their brothers, the bulk of whom were working in the family's carpentry business and making YouTube content for fun. We were trying to find people we liked working with, he adds, so we just built a crew at home. Very smart. In 2017, they officially formed a full-service independent film, TV, and content production company and named it, of course, the Kinane Brothers. Since then, they've worked on a few small projects like NBC's Next Olympic Hopeful and a short film titled Rigor Mortis that premiered at the Austin Film Festival. It was enough to facilitate an introduction to James through a friend. When isolation orders went into effect in March, the brothers happened to be in talks with James, who was forced to postpone a stand-up tour and other projects. He said, "Hey, if you guys want to do this safely, we could quarantine together," recalls Charles of the plan that saw them stay at an Airbnb property near James's home and shuttle back and forth as a, quote, self-contained unit. For 6 months, they collaborated on the short film series, with each of the brothers focused on specific duties. Charles and Dan write and direct, Pat and Brendan write. Brendan also does music supervision. John writes and handles all the visual effects. I'm not peeing, I'm pouring tea. Pete serves as the editor, and Jeffrey, Aziz, and Will write and produce. We would come in with a couple of ideas, throw them around, and tweak a bit, explains John. Then we go out, maybe comp it, and if the idea works, prep and get ready to shoot later that day. It often was a quick turnaround. Smart. This is how you got to be creating content. This is why we're covering it. I mean, this is how you create content. Boom, you have the idea, you rep it out. Charles says the experience has been a creative jolt for the brothers with an unexpected payoff of seeing James in action as a performer. We knew that he was an incredible actor and had that range even though he's known for comedy films, so it was fun for us to show all of his nuance and the genius that is Kevin James. He explains, adding that as the eldest Kinane brother, he realized what a unique opportunity they had to work so closely and creatively with an established star. Normally, there are a lot of barriers to that kind of opportunity. It was a huge gift to us, and these guys weren't intimidated by it, and they just crushed it. They've emerged with plans to keep pushing along with feature film projects and perhaps more collaborations with James down the line, though they are careful to keep from saying too much. What John will say, however, is that despite 6 months in close quarters with all the Canane's blood, they're still on good terms. It definitely had its challenges, he said with a laugh. He says with a laugh, but we will always be brothers. I think this is a great story. And, real props to Kevin James and, of course, the brothers. But what an amazing hack. I mean, this is like, I know James had a lot of money, huge celebrity. So you definitely have opportunities that some people don't have. But I'm always saying, like we're saying on the Procast sessions, myself, King D, like I'm talking about on the Daily Swole podcast, everywhere. If you have one of these, you got content. You have a full multimedia. This thing is amazing. This is a cell phone. All right. This is an iPhone. You can create, you can edit, you can do sound, you can do everything that you need to do on this phone. So don't let that be a barrier for your creation. And it just goes to show that even in a lockdown, Star, you don't need a whole production studio. You don't need millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of equipment in order to execute. You need the will to do it. You need to do it. But you don't need a lot of people. You might not be Kevin James. You might not have 8 brothers that are going to help you. However, you have YouTube. You can learn. You can learn how to edit. You can film. You can do a podcast. You can do a podcast from your phone. You don't even need a microphone. You're just talking to the speaker and upload it right into Anchor. You can do whatever you want, fam. That's all I'm saying. I just think it's very impressive that Kevin James, rather than sit around and be like, okay, well, I can't make a movie. I guess we'll wait until it's over. I guess we'll wait until lockdown ends. No, he grabbed the situation by the balls and he's like, hey, you want to quarantine with me? Let's make some stuff. Let's create. Fantastic. I mean, that's what you got to do, right? That's what you got to do. You got to take advantage of the situation. See, it's an opportunity. A lot of people just sat around and, oh my God, what am I going to do? I guess the movie's going to get canceled. I guess we're not going to film and the studios are shutting down and everyone's wondering and worried about what's going to happen. Yeah, well, some people are out there getting it done and still creating and still perfecting their craft. And trust me, by trying things and by experimenting and by putting in that kind of effort, you're going to figure out what you do like and things that you never thought that you liked before. And you're going to find out you really are passionate about them. So what are your thoughts? Drop it down below. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and check out the full Swolenormous Procast sessions. The full episodes are here available. Check out the highlights and check out the other impact videos. And I'll see you next time.